The Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court in the Free State is expected to have the bail hearing today of former Free State Premier Ace Magashule's personal assistant, Moroadi Cholota. Now, the 37-year-old Cholota was arrested on arrival in South Africa following her extradition from the US, where she had been detained. She was the personal assistant to Magashule when crimes relating to the 255 billion rand asbestos contract were allegedly committed. SABC News reporter Aphumelele, Mdlalane and video journalist Semi Masime are covering that story from inside of court. Let's cross live to them now. Aphumelele, good morning. Thank you for joining us at this hour. Perhaps you could paint that picture for us. What's happening inside of court? Have you seen any of Moroadi Cholota's friends, families coming out to support? What are you observing?
Well, good morning, and also to the viewers at home. What we have seen is, of course, the convoy that is bringing the 37-year-old Moroadi Cholota at the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court, and we're expecting the proceedings to start in no time from now on, and we're expecting, of course, not to be prolonged, given that it's her first appearance where they will be dealing with the bail hearing, and we know things that needs to be established is whether her verification of address, of course, has been taken place, but the some, of course, factors that will be, of course, interesting in court that will be dealt with, as we do know that she was extradited from the US after 2 years of the NPA trying, of course, that activity, and that's when inside court we will be hearing whether she is eligible for a bail application, given that they're supposed to see if it's also in the interest of justice, and also if she won't be a flight risk. But so much has happened in this case. We must remember that it started here in the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court, and the trial was postponed to April in the Free State High Court, where it's going to be taking place from April to June of next year, where we do know that it's 17 accused, including the then Premier Ace Magashule, and 5 companies in this corruption saga of asbestos roofing scandal of 255 million rands. And we have not seen, of course, the family or friends of Moroadi Cholota at this moment in time. Maybe it's because the proceedings have not begun yet, but in no time from now we will be expecting a hive of activity. As we saw, this has drawn also the media attention, and all the colleagues are here just to see what is likely to transpire in court. But we do know, of course, that the NPA, or rather the state, will be opposing the bail application of Moroadi Cholota, given that it's been over 2 years they've been trying to extradite or call Moroadi Cholota, who once then became a state witness, and later on the state changed that with the evidence that they brought forward against her, changed her to be one of the accused in this 255 million rands saga. We are in the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court, and it is expected the proceedings to begin in no time from now.
All right, Aphumelele, we're obviously monitoring those developments, and we're set to hear how the bail conditions, the bail applications also set to play out. Perhaps on the back of court expected to start rather soon, you could also just speak to the trial that's set to start in April of 2025. Any more information on that front?
Well, on that regard, we must remember that in the High Court in April, that's when the NPA, also one of the reasons that it was postponed, it was all the parties to be ready for trial, to be furnished with the documents that are pending. And also this issue of Moroadi Cholota was in the forefront. When we heard from the NPA, they were confirming that she was, of course, she got arrested and was supposed to appear in court in the US. And now this extradition process that, of course, elongated all these processes. But we are expecting in that trial, when it begins in April next year, all parties will have to be ready, because we must remember that one of the companies' names already doesn't have a representative, because Iko Mbambani, who was killed, of course, in 2018, gunned down in Johannesburg, is one of the accused in this matter. So So those were just some of the key issues that were supposed to be dealt with by the legal representatives who will represent the companies of those that have died. And we're expecting, of course, Moroadi Cholota, her process of a bail application thereof to unfold, and then come April we will be expecting her to join the other 16 people and companies that will be appearing in the Free State High Court, where we're expecting that trial to take for a period of 6 weeks from April until June, July.
Right, Aphumelele, thank you very much for that update. We'll continue to monitor developments. In fact, staying with that story, SABC News reporter Ishmael, Modiba and video journalist Tompo Mashao are also covering the story from outside of court. Let's cross live to them now. Ishmael, good morning. If you can hear me, Aphumelele really painted the picture, provided context as to that bail application process that is taking place. But perhaps from your vantage point, what are you observing? We did ask if, she'd seen any of Moroadi's family and friends coming out to support, but what's happening on your end as we speak?
Well, for us outside the court, we're expecting a hive of activity where we're expecting, the members of the African Congress for Transformation to come here, as they've stated over the weekend that they will be here. You remember, I'm stating the African Congress for Transformation. Why am I mentioning it? Is because their President General Ace Magashule is one of the accused in this matter. And Mr. Magashule, during one of the court proceedings, during the pre-trial conferences, he did mention in court that he's not happy about the way the matter is being handled with regard to Moroadi Cholota, speaking about the harassment that she is facing. And over the weekend, the very same party issued a statement to say they are not happy about the dramatic and the high caliber rifles or weapons that the police were having during the arrival of Moroadi Cholota. So we are expecting the members of the ACT to be here to show support. And remember that during one of the pre-trial conference, the court even stated or even issued a warning to Magashule to say he must not have a contact with Moroadi Cholota. So we don't know whether that is still the status quo, that he must remain away from her, not to have a contact with her. But the party itself, they've shown support for her to say what the state is doing against her, they deem it unnecessary. So for now, it's still fairly quiet outside the court. We're not sure whether as the day progresses or when the proceedings go on inside the court, those members of the party will be here to show support. But for now, it's fairly quiet. Some of the roads and around the court present have been closed just to allow the free flow of traffic and for people to move freely. But for now, like I said, it's fairly quiet. And the people that are here in court are those that are expected or to appear in court for their own personal matters that we don't know of. But for us, we're still waiting to see what will transpire inside court.
All right, Ishmael, thank you for that update. It is set to start rather shortly, so we'll monitor those developments as the day progresses. Ishmael Modiba outside of the court. We do know that the Bloemfontein Magistrate's Court today is expected to have the bail hearing of Moroadi Cholota, of course, Ace Magashule's former personal assistant. Those developments happening as the day progresses.